social media has been amazing for us. We have really jumped in head first into social media over the last year or so, and right now if you went on YouTube, for example, you'll see a lot of Florida dairy industry video on there that tells the story of the farmers. You know, we took a camera crew down to a dairy farm and filmed there all day, and we asked every conceivable question we could that might come up from a consumer. And now we have those little 30 second to a minute long podcasts that are on YouTube, so people can go to YouTube, they can click on that and hear a farmer speaking. So that's been big for us. And now we're starting to get into Twitter a little bit. And we're even talking about creating a Facebook page for our industry. So these are things that weren't even conceivable to us 2 years ago, but now we are taking full advantage of that because we understand, especially the younger audience, the younger consumer, that's the best way to reach them. It almost seems like at times just trying to get things into a newspaper is kind of an archaic approach. So we understand that the younger generation is not reading newspapers anymore, with the regularity that I did as a young person. So we want to be where those young consumers are, which is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And we feel that the more we put out there, the better return and understanding we're going to get for our industry. And if we're not doing it, then the people who oppose our industry they already are doing it, and they're going to do it even more so. So we have to be where they are as well to counteract any negativity toward our industry.
I think without a doubt the ag industry should absolutely be involved in social media. There's a whole conversation going on in the world. It's a global conversation. And if you're not there, someone else is going to be telling your story for you. So agriculture has, as we all know, a very good story to tell. They just don't do the best job telling it all the time. And social media is a very good way to get that message across. There's really, I think, two methodologies for communicating with people on social media. One is the broadcast message, here's what I'm doing, check out my new blog site. And then one is conversations, which I think that's really important for people to remember. That's how you spark interest. That's how you get feedback. That's how you get people talking to you. So, you may see something, somewhat controversial on the news, put it out there. Let people, have that conversation with you. So really, I think the theory is to categorize your messages in those two main categories.
I'm still trying to get my arms wrapped around the social media and how into it I need to be. We're unique as an organization because we're not marketing something to consumers. So we're a little different animal, and my big goal is figuring out how I can use those tools. That said, I am on Twitter trying to look for conversations that are about agriculture. For example, heaven forbid that there was another foodborne illness outbreak associated with a fresh produce item. I would want to be out there looking to see what people are saying. Not sure what I would do with that, but just the awareness. I'd be out there tweeting as well as a source in agriculture. Leveraging a presence on Facebook, still trying to get a handle on how to use those tools effectively, but there are ways, and the monitoring part is the most important, I think, is just knowing the conversations that are occurring out there, knowing how an issue is being perceived, knowing how your product or your organization is being perceived, and how to get your piece of the conversation out there.
Farm Bureau has taken kind of a deliberate approach in embracing social media, and what I mean by that is we're embracing it slowly. We recognize that some of our members trend to an older generation, and so we're not just jumping on every new thing just because it's new. But we are aware of the technologies, we are monitoring them, of course, and using the ones that we see as appropriate in terms of using emails. Our Farm Bureau Act is a way that legislators can be contacted by our membership, and we see those as very viable sources. But we also don't stop doing our other ways that have proven successful.
The communication itself is definitely shaping how you word your message. You mentioned 140 characters or less. It used to be make sure you have your news release one page. Now you're talking about a sentence or two at the most. So you've got to be direct, you've got to be concise. The flip side of that is when you have an issue that requires detail and context and perspective, how do you do that with 140 characters? And it makes our job so much more difficult and so much more challenging, and those are the kinds of things that we're going to have to learn how to do.
I think we often look at social media and say, oh gosh, this is changing how we communicate with our audience. And we really need to think about how does our audience want to be communicated with. And one of the facts that supports that is that 90% of people say that they make major decisions, whether it's goods to buy or issues, people to vote for, by word of mouth. And one of the ways that you can have that two-way communication with people and develop word of mouth buzz is by social media. So I think that's really important that we look at that.